Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us for Four Friends in a Book podcast. Look, for a special edition of our show, which we entitled the Author Spotlight. So, look, if you're familiar with Four Friends in a Book, we're normally reading books over here, having great conversations about just things that are going on within the world, the community, and having these great rants at the end by Mr. Rant Man, Isaiah Tukes. But on our Author Spotlight segment, we switch it up a little bit. We want to talk firsthand to an author or creative and just kind of hear about their story, their journey of becoming published, their overall process. And look, got a good brother with us today, man. We met him recently this year at the Middle Georgia Lit Fest. He was doing great
Yes.
things. Stopped by the table, we chopped it up and connected.
Mhm.
Mr. Hotep with Black Lion and Cubs. Look, he had a premiere at the Lit Fest, and we just had a great time with him, and had to bring him on the show for the Author Spotlight segment and kind of connect with him and hear a little bit more about him and what he got going on. So, Hotel brother, welcome and thank you for joining Four Friends in the Book.
Thank you, Chris and Kimberly. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. I'm actually celebrating my 20th anniversary of
Oh,
publishing my first book, so it's a good time to
wow.
have this conversation. Yeah.
So speaking of you've been doing this 20 years, can you just tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Hotep. I'm the creator of Black Lion and Cubs, which is a family-friendly anime brand. But before that, I've been known as a consummate creative entrepreneur. I've been involved in the creative arts officially since 1996 when I was in the music industry. And I had my first company, which was called Skinny Men Productions. That's what this logo is right here. You guys can see this logo. That's the logo for Skinny
Hmm.
Men Productions.
Okay.
I wanted to be a rapper and a producer. It's hard for me to say it nowadays, but I really wanted to be Diddy. You understand what I'm saying? That was my idol. But in any
Yeah.
case, I wanted to be that dude, and I was here in Atlanta, so I was in the space where a lot of other people were coming up. Outkast had just popped, Goody Mob, Ti, Ludacris. All these people were a part of a burgeoning entertainment scene, starting with the music industry here in Atlanta. So I was a part of that on the independent level. Me and all of these people that I just mentioned had crossed paths from time to time. And music was cool. But for a lot of people, what I like to say is, wherever you start in the creative arts, you know, like with music, for me, music might be for you, music might not be for you, or music might just be the beginning. And so for me, music was just the beginning for my creative entrepreneurship journey. I started with music and then transitioned quickly into the film industry because with music, one of the things that we started realizing is that, it's good to have a song and an album, but hey, it's even better to have a music video. And so we're talking
Ooh.
about 2000, 2002. Not a lot of people, particularly independent, had the luxury of having a music video. I was one of the few here in Atlanta that really spearheaded the movement of being an independent artist, hip hop artist, but also having a music video. So I got into music videos, and then from music videos quickly transitioned into buying my own camera, and then shot my first documentary, which was called Independent Doing Major Things. So in 2004, between 2004 and 2005, I released that first documentary, and that film just took me to a whole nother level of notoriety and helped me see the opportunities as a creative. That if you're an author, you typically write because you have something to say. Well, in the music, I first expressed that desire to share what I had to say through music, but then very quickly realized that I can share what I have to say through the visuals. And I did that through the documentary. The next year, 2006, is when I wrote my first book. It was called The Hustler's 10 Commandments. And that's where a lot of people in the Atlanta area really started to recognize who I am, and where I really first made my name is the writing of The Hustler's 10 Commandments in 2006. And again, that book took off, and man, I started writing more books and just finding more ways to express myself, whether it's through a book, a film, or a game, a video game, curriculum, comic books, coloring books. And then that's what ultimately led me to move into the animation space or the anime space, which is my most recent iteration of what I like to present now, which is Black Lion and Cubs. That's a long answer to your short question.
It was good though.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. And again, we made it to Lit Fest and really connected. Even hearing your brand and your story and this journey, um, even more so considering that you are a creative, like you've done music and videos and films and now books, and now into this anime space. What do you think your biggest, I guess, inspiration, or what's been your inspiration for, especially what you're doing now with Black Lion and Cubs, that brand? Like, what's that inspiration or that motivation behind that?
So the motivation at first was uh, quite selfishly the fact that I had something to say, and I felt that what I had to say was important. I felt that my thoughts were important, my ideas were important enough not only to write them down, but to publish them and then market them and publish them through books and then print them. Like that takes a certain level of arrogance, to think that what you create is important enough. But I've always been that type of person to believe enough in myself, and that confidence has led me very far in my life. That being said, it's the confidence that I know has been very important in my journey as a creative, as an entrepreneur, and as a man through life. And so it's something that I wanted to teach very early within my own children. And so Black Lion and Cubs really is my latest iteration of not only me having something to say, but the intention being that I wanted to say something to my own two children. So I'm a father of two young boys. I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. I created Black Lion and Cubs 3 years ago to build something that would help encourage, empower them, educate them, help them see how powerful they are at a very early age, to build certain competencies within them and to help them see themselves as the hero of their own stories. So different from my past projects, Black Lion and Cubs was motivated and inspired by my own children and my desire as a father to want to teach them certain things and to utilize the formats of media, in this case, anime, as a way to do that.
That's
Yeah,
nice.
That's good. Especially now, man, because like anime is gaining some popularity in the U.S. or whatever. Like I'm an old Dragon Ball Z fan, so back in the day, DBZ had me in a stronghold, but now to have even you doing black anime, and again something that your sons, your kids can kind of see and see themselves in is a great thing. So yeah, good to hear.
Thank you. Yeah, and the funny thing is, I didn't really know how popular anime was. My journey into the space is, I think, very unique because I don't enter the anime industry as an anime head. Like I've never watched an episode of Dragon Ball Z. You understand?
Me neither.
Oh, really?
I'm familiar.
Y'all
Like,
tripping.
Yeah,
Y'all tripping.
never see my days of fandom were in the 80s, right? So
Yeah.
if you talk about Voltron, Transformers,
Okay.
Thundercats, He-Man, all that, that's me. DBZ came out right in the 90s when I was already in college, and so I was done with all that. But my point is, my days of fandom ended in the 80s. And what I mean by that is, by the time I got into college, I had really started transitioning my mindset and my actions in such a way that I no longer wanted to be the consumer. I wanted to be the producer, right? In these streets, when you out here marketing and such, you say you either the hustler, you the customer, right? And so when people position that language to me, I sit back and say, well, which part of that equation do I want to be in? Or be on? And I said, well, I'm the hustler. I'm not going to be the customer. I'm going to let these other people be the customer. So that was really a mindset that I started developing, in the early 90s. And so that's the reason why I say my days of fandom were in the 80s, because that's when I consumed a lot. I was a fan of I read comic books. I bought music. I was into all of that stuff. But when I transitioned my mindset as an entrepreneur, as a bona fide hustler, I said, well, you know what? I have to now transition the way I spend my time, because one thing that a lot of people don't learn to really appreciate in life is opportunity cost. People don't understand what opportunity cost really is, and they don't respect it. So for those that are watching, opportunity cost is what is lost by choosing to do one thing over something else, right? So the time that we're taking right now to do this podcast means that there's a loss, there's an expense to this. because we cannot do all the million of other things we could be doing. Somebody right now watching this could be writing a book, could be, doing something else, but they're watching this, they're consuming something. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but respect what opportunity cost is. And so when I started to understand opportunity cost, and I said, well, listen, I could spend my time reading a book or spend my time writing a book, I decided I was going to write the book instead of reading.
That's
Nice.
good. That's
I love
good.
that. So you were saying like you're new to this anime world. So coming into it, what was the process like getting this started? Like you had to find an animator. Like how did that all come together for you?
So I did start with animation. And the reason being is because, well, a few reasons. One, I was sharing a lot of animations with my children, and I realized how impactful animation was to my own sons. And I said, well, if you guys like this stuff, let me work on creating something like this that I can endorse, because a lot of that anime stuff now is extremely violent, it's over sexualized, it's not necessarily appropriate for children. Even though you have children's faces and voices in it, it's not appropriate. I'm a former school teacher, so I know it's appropriate for children, and a lot of it isn't, and it doesn't have our faces. So I decided I was going to create something. So I decided to start with animation and then work my way backwards from animation down to the other forms of media, including graphic novels and such. I also started with animation because it would allow me. It's a difficult point of entry for a lot of people. Animation requires the ability not only to write, but to draw, but to animate, to pull together music, to edit, you understand, to direct. So there's a lot of different things, skills that are necessary to put together an episode of a cartoon. You also need voice actors, right? So for those reasons, and of course, on top of that, the expense of all this. So to get into animation, I knew that it was not only going to be challenging, but also I knew it would help escalate me in the space of anime as someone that was really, not someone that's that's playing around, but someone that's really someone you should take seriously, right? So that's the reason why I started off with animation. And yes, the process for me, again, like I said, if you can write a song, you can write a book. You could also write the treatment for an animation. So I use those same skills that I, utilized to writing music to writing my first episode or the first story for that I wanted to animate. So there were a lot of things that were required to get into animation. One was the story, but then also you have character development. There's another side to this, right? Like I had stories, but then I also wanted to develop my characters. What were going to be their personalities? What were going to be, what was going to be their look? What was going to be, their, that thing about them that made them unique and different? What was going to be their powers? So I had to write and develop all these things. And then before I even got to the animation, I had to have these characters drawn, or I don't even know the term for it. I had to have them drawn. They had to be fashioned as a static piece of artwork. And that took some time. It didn't take me a lot of time because, again, for me, I write from a place of what I know and what I'm familiar with. So like when I wrote The Hustler's 10 Commandments, I wrote about what I knew and what I was doing. In this case, I'm writing stories for my children centered around two boys and their father. I'm a father with two boys that my name is Hotep, which is African. So I wrote from a place of my own experience and my own, my own knowledge base. And so even when I developed the characters, the way they look, their hair color, their personalities was based off my own son. So it was relatively, I would say, more simple for me, or easier for me to develop the stories and the characters than most people. What really took some more time was the outfits, the development of the outfits, and why these outfits, what they would look like, how to make them similar but then also unique, and then also the development of their powers. Those things took a little bit more time. And in fact, when I first developed the story, when I first wrote it, and where it is now is a little bit different, because it took a few years for me to start refining it a little bit better, and making little changes based off of where I wanted to ultimately go.
No, that's good, man. Even you kind of speaking to, like, again, writing from experiences and, almost your characters being a reflection of you, yourself, your boys, and your experiences, and so to translate that into a tangible thing that someone could, you know, consume and learn from is great. So, bro, you covered a lot, man. I mean, you gave us a lot,
Mhm.
man. A former educator, music, videos, author, writing books,
Filmmaker.
yeah,
Mhm.
films, graphic novels. It's a lot that you've covered, and honestly, it sounds like it was kind of a building block for everything else that you kind of had, coming thereafter. You kind of kept building from those moments. But considering that, um, what advice would you give someone that is considering, stepping out into music or film or, writing a book or doing anime or whatever it is in that creative space? Like, what advice would you give someone as, like, as you said, being a consumer or a producer? Like, they're sitting back right now consuming, but they have the thoughts of being a producer. They have the thoughts of actually like making something and putting it out into the world. Like, what advice would you give someone considering that?
Yeah, there's a few things. So number one, you hit the nail on the head with that. Like, uh, for me, when you so there's a few things over these years, and I'm a little bit, I'm a little bit over 50 now, so I'm an official OG. You
Just
understand?
little
And because,
season, got a little
yeah,
seasoning on you.
yeah, and you see it, before, 20 years ago, I was a gorilla. Now I'm a silverback gorilla. You understand what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna speak from a real OG perspective, and people take from it what they want. Um, Number one thing that I've learned very valuable in my life is that entrepreneurship. Well, before I get to that, in this world, it's either ownership or it's slaveship. Okay, it's either ownership or it's slaveship. I put things in categories like this so that individuals can decide what side of an equation they want to operate from. Right. So when you hear ownership or slaveship, you have to sit back and consider which ship you want to ride. Right? I want to ride on the ownership. You understand? Because I refuse to be on the slave ship. In addition to that, I believe that entrepreneurship is the key to freedom for all people, right? And so when you want to take ownership, then you get into the space of entrepreneurship where you begin to realize that you are responsible for your own. Ain't no one out here owe you nothing, and you should never be one of those people to expect your oppressor to be a part of your liberation. You understand? Your life is your responsibility. And so I say these things to start with people so that they can decide which ship they want to ride. Once you decide that, then you need to take action. If you don't like the ownership of slave ship language, like you said earlier, you can be the hustler or you can be the customer, right? And again, it doesn't sit well to me to sit back and say, no, I'm going to be the customer, right? Like, who would sit back and say, oh, I'd rather be a customer. Okay, well, then be a customer, right? Here, buy my book. I got a book for you. Go ahead and buy mine. So I would start with those types of points and juxtaposition for anyone listening to first consider where they want to be in this world and what they want their ultimate legacy to be. I made mine very clear 20 plus years ago. After that, then it requires a measure of confidence. You always hear me talk about confidence and power, right? Because I speak from and live from a position of power. I operate from a position of power. When I put out my first album, I didn't have a record deal. No one would give me a record deal, right? So I could have sit back and cried about it or been mad about it or given up my dream. But I bet on myself. I bet on myself because I believed enough in myself, right? It took confidence for me to decide that I was going to start my own record label, put out my own albums, learn how to manufacture and distribute and learn sales techniques to do that. That takes confidence. What I found is that a lot of our colleagues that are extremely creative lack the confidence. You understand? So that's something else that I would recommend for anyone that wants to get into this space. I wrote my first book 20 years ago. Today I sit before you. I'm an author and a publisher and own a publishing company. I've written over 30 books, and that's just the books. I got video games and animations and movies to and t-shirt. I got all kind of stuff, man. Right? But my point is, over these years, I've had to bet on myself. I've asked for sent query letters and asked for, people to put me down. No one's giving me no investments and all. Nah, I don't get all that. My journey is that of the individual that could never find a way. I had to learn how to make a way. And so I learned how to make a way because I believed enough in myself. So I say this because I meet creative people all the time. And they say, you know what? I've been trying to write this book for 10 years. Or I've been working on this project for 5 years. Or I've always, ever since a child, wanted to be a writer. I said, well, how many books have you written? None yet. I'm like, now see, shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Right? And I say it that way because I really want to provoke a response. I ain't gonna be nice about it. You should be ashamed of yourself. You sitting around, playing with your dreams. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow's never promised to any of us. So you better get out here and get on your hustle and make it happen for yourself. And if not for yourself, do it for your children. You understand? Or do it for someone else. Do it for your parents. Do it for someone that's passed away in your life. If you don't have enough confidence in yourself to do it for yourself, find someone else to do it for them. So I say these things not to embarrass people, make people feel bad about themselves, but hopefully for people to say, man, he's right, man. I'm slacking on my pimping, man. Come on. And so that's the other piece of advice I would give is believe in yourself, bet on yourself, and then operate with a sense of urgency. Like I said, man, tomorrow's never promised. You know what I'm saying? I've had people pass away in my life. We never expected that to happen. And so, and as a result, I'm very confident. I'm very cognizant of my own mortality, right? I know I'm not going to be here forever, right? So I operate with a sense of urgency. I'm not, I tell you, I'm going to work on a book. Well, maybe next year, come on, next month, maybe even next week if I'm feeling real froggy. You understand what I'm saying? But my point is, I'm not, so you got to, again, it's not to make, this is to encourage people, to push people, to let them know how powerful, divinely powerful all of us are. I'm not saying you got to be like me, be like you. You're just as powerful. You understand? Believe in yourself, understand how powerful you are, and operate with a sense of urgency because tomorrow's never promised. So those are some of the things I would say.
Facts, bro.
Say,
facts.
look, Hotep, you preaching to me on this urgency. You done got me. So I got two quick questions for you. So one, I just want to know, what has your son's reactions been to this? Because I can imagine being 6 and be like, my daddy made an anime and it's about me. Like, what's their reaction to the show?
So at home, well, it's funny. So one, they love it. They love it. They love seeing themselves. And, I had outfits, costumes, fashion, just like you see behind me for them to wear for Halloween. We all dressed up as Black Lion and Cubs. You see what I'm saying? Like I do it all. I'm not here to play. I'm here to win. You understand what I'm saying? Let me say that again. So everybody understand who they talking to right now. You talking to someone. I'm not here to play. Other people, they play. I'm here to win. You understand? It's a different mindset. That being said, yes, we got the costumes that we made and we did it for Halloween. My kids love Black Lion and Cubs. My oldest, who's 6 years old, though, he loves it at home, but he's kind of ashamed, not ashamed, but like embarrassed. He's the more timid one. So when it's time to share at school, he's like, no, daddy, don't, it's going to embarrass me. Don't let everybody know. But my 4-year-old, man, he is proud. He comes to school. This is me. This is a cartoon. So, that's the difference between their personalities. And again, one of the reasons why I even created the brand is especially for my oldest. My oldest is on this side here, Saladin, is to encourage him to, again, to be powerful, to be confident, in himself. And we still work through that even to this day.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure those seeds you're planting now, I mean, bro, they are definitely developing and flourish in the future. So, man, like, they may not understand it now, but I'm pretty sure you're making a huge impact in their lives, as they grow and kind of appreciate what
100%. Yeah, I believe that. I know that to be the case. Frederick Douglass said something that was so impactful in my life when I learned of it. He said, it's easier to build strong children than repair broken men. You understand? And so I'm in the place right now where I'm building strong children, right? So that later on, when they become, in their 20s and 30s, we don't have to do all the mental health, self-care work because we've taken care of that early in their years. We built them strong, so we don't have to do the repair work based off of the traumas that a lot of people experience. So I believe that 100%. That's why I do what I do. You understand? Because I know I've been educated in what it takes to develop strong children. My background as an educator, and now I'm a father applying everything that I've learned and tested over the years.
That's
All right.
good.
I love
Miss
that.
Lake, you had another question. You said you had two.
Yeah. So I want to, like, you have so many things. After speaking with you, you have a million different things to offer our audience. So one,
Mhm.
can you tell us where they can find you, and also how they can get some of your like anime, graphic novels, anything like that?
Yeah, so I make it simple. blacklionandcubs.com is where you can find everything. You can see some of the animations, some of the video games. You can join our newsletter and become a part of our community. I don't even really do social media much anymore. I was more active on it up until a couple months ago, but then when I got a new phone, I decided to switch carriers, and I made a conscious effort to switch carriers so that I wasn't able to transfer all my contacts and all my apps. I felt that I was getting too inundated with too many messages and too much stuff,
Mhm.
and it was causing it was just overstimulation for me. And I didn't. And the thing is, I knew I didn't need it all, but I was just so used to it. So when I got my new phone and had my new carrier, I only carried over those things that were core, like those very basic things that I needed. Even people, like I only have about 30 contacts in this phone. My other phone, I got like 3,000. Right? And why I got three? I don't even talk to these people. They don't matter to me. And even worse on social media. So I do have social media accounts, but don't worry about that because I'm not investing much in social media. I find that I found over the years that the time and energy spent on social media could be easily spent in writing a new book or creating a new something. And most of those people on social media, they don't matter. Their opinions don't matter. I don't know them. I'll never see them. And so the people that matter are the people that I have here, right? That I talk to, that I have a real relationship with. And by going deeper instead of going wider, I'll say that again, going deeper instead of going wider, I find more value and more profitability in my life, financially and otherwise. So Black Lion, that's another long answer to your short question.
You're good.
blacklionandcubs.com.
Nah,
Nice.
that's good. Look, the OG been dropping jewels this whole episode, man. I'm glad we're able to do this, man. Again, just hearing your story, hearing your journey, hearing kind of how you've evolved over time from just the different creative spaces you've been in is a true testament to just your diligence and your confidence in yourself. It's again to put something out there in the world and to make a way and not wait on someone to help you or fix it for you. Like you're taking this taking this mantle upon yourself to, hey, I'm gonna make it happen, and not only for yourself but for your family and for your boys. So bro, I salute you. I applaud you for all the great things you've done, that you're
Yes.
doing now, that you already have done. And bro, we're definitely championing you on into success and all the things you have in the future going forth. So
Thank you,
Yeah, and
Chris.
I checked out the trailer for it. It was, I love the premise. It's very original idea, so I'm gonna check it out because it was cool.
Thank you. Thank you. You can watch the entire series is on a network called Black Education Station. And if I may just say, for those that not only um, are interested in my works, but Black Education Station is a streaming service like Netflix and Disney, but it's Black owned. All the content is created and curated by Black educators and experts for young children ages 0 to 10. So, for those of you that are parents, grandparents, nieces, have nieces, nephews, godchildren, I would highly recommend that you subscribe to Black Education Station, not only to watch Black Lion and Cubs, but then also the everything else that they have on the network that's been curated specifically for our children. There's no commercials as well, so it's a phenomenal thing, and everything Black Lion and Cubs can be found there as well.
yeah, that's good. That's good, bro. Again, we appreciate you. I'm glad we're able to
Yes.
connect again. Met him at the Lit Fest, chopped it up at the table, and was like, yeah, we got to bring him on the show. And so glad we're able to make it happen, and have this conversation, and for you to really just to again share some game, share some information, share your journey with our listening and viewing audience. So we appreciate you for your time and your
You're welcome. Thank you guys so much for your time. All right, take care of yourselves.
yeah. Look, and as always, let's continue to read, let's learn, let's grow, let's have a conversation right here on Four Friends in a Book. Until next time, y'all. Thanks. Peace.